Hey, everybody! Why am I fired?
Don't you like jazz? Come on.
Jazzy old time there, swinging old time there, buddy.
No jazz standard. I'm over here milking the Zoom.
Hey! Right now is the time for me to leave everything I know behind.
When a good time turns around, you must whip it. You will never live it down unless you whip it. No one gets away until they whip it. I say whip it. Whip it good, boys. I feel like that one's obvious.
Words of wisdom that stretch across the generations.
Yeah. And if you find yourself a plastic hat, you must wear it.
Energy dome.
Oh, sorry.
Did they wear construction hats sometimes too? Or I'm just making that up. Yeah, sometimes construction hats. Yeah.
They'll never be as cool as Kraftwerk.
For the band Devo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's ensemble performance of Rabbit Fighters. In the first chair on Bones, Gregory. Mr. Joshua on the kit, and myself, the consummate folder holder, and also on backup sax, Mr. Brian.
I can't be on the kit.
You're on the kit. You're on the kit. And then, so it's episode 57, everyone, and we're talking about the 2014 film Whiplash.
Whiplash, if you're in Britain. Whiplash.
And according to my best friend ChatGPT, Whiplash is about it says an electrifying drama from 2014 about ambition, obsession, and the brutal pursuit of greatness, starring Miles Teller as an aspiring jazz drummer and J.K. Simmons in an Oscar-winning role as his fearsome instructor. The film explodes. The film, it might explode too. Explores the razor-thin line between motivation and manipulation. Is Fletcher a mentor pushing his student to genius, or a tyrant breaking him down? So let's get into it, gentlemen.
I would argue, ChatGPT, that it's not. It may be razor thin, but that doesn't matter if you've already passed it by like 15 blocks.
What are you talking about?
Razor thin, yeah. It's like, is he abusive? I wonder if he's abusive.
I mean, he wears all black. Yeah, he's a villain. So Whiplash, why here? Why now? Why did I make you watch it? I don't know if either of you had seen it.
No, I had not.
This was
it. I hadn't heard of it.
Really? So this is 10 years ago. I remember when this came out. And I checked it out, and I think most notably, it's known for the performance from J.K. Simmons in this. He won a little golden statue for it. But I remember the year it came out. It was kind of came out of nowhere. And I think the award and the Oscars, it was I think it got a bunch of nominations, but I know it took home a couple prizes. But plus, as a not very good musician, I like any sort of musical movies. So I thought this was, and I can't drum. So I was very fascinated by that, but I just love the premise of this. And I thought this was a great film about music. And we don't really get to do, we've done documentaries, we've done albums, but not really movies that have a musical theme that I can recall. And I was curious to see kind of what the perspective might be in as someone who maybe like myself, half-assedly plays instruments, and like I like to picture myself in these types of like, how would I handle this type of thing? So I'd be curious what you'd look from the outside coming in of like, because I have thought
I would have been out day one. Like I would have walked in and then walked right back out. Like, all right, Grandpa Simpson. Just
roll it right out.
I know. I mean, so what's interesting about this, and we'll talk about the whole backup thing, is that I have like conflicting thoughts on this. Of like, obviously, it's an exaggerated experience of the Fletcher character berating literally everybody in this fucking movie, but I do think that he has a point in some points. In some aspects of the film and things that he says around, you have to push someone kind of into greatness, or like if someone doesn't push somebody hard enough, there never will be. He uses the bird as a reference to this. Yeah, Charlie Parker in this around like if he hadn't had a symbol thrown at his head, would he become Charlie Parker? Right. So, maybe. And I think there's some truth to that, but I think we can kind of break down the do we want to do kind of the rundown? Or
first of all, I want to introduce my my idea for an alternate title for this, I would have called it Full Metal Drumkit, because
It's true.
he's basically the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. There is a Private Pile who he kicks out of the jazz ensemble, the guy who he berates for his weight and love of snacks. And then there's the young kid who's being molded by this psycho asshole, in spite of himself. He's very much a drill sergeant, right?
I love to think of the U.S. Army as a jazz ensemble.
It
fits. It fits.
You know, and like, you know, the top sniper wouldn't have been the top sniper if you hadn't chucked a live grenade at his head while he was aiming wrong. So, you know, there's really a lot of overlap between New York City jazz ensembles and
on the telescopic scope, we got Tugboat Jones.
horrible boot camp experience. Yeah, right. Private Pile, you disgusting fat body! It's basically that scene where he yells at the kid and kicks him out.
That's a pretty good comparison.
I'm not going to grade it till the very end.
Yeah.
I will say that I did not enjoy this at all. It was a very good movie. All around very, very good. I did not enjoy any of it until the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Right?
The whole time I was anxiety just through the roof. Like, this is just an exercise in torture.
Right.
This whole movie. You're just watching this kid walk into the torture chamber willingly. Every single scene. And for reasons that I don't think you fully understand, because it's like he's striving for greatness. He wants to be the greatest drummer. You don't really know why he wants to be the greatest drummer ever. Like they go back to like one video where as a kid, it's just like in his blood, and I think you're just supposed to assume.
But he was
playing. He wants to be great.
He's like, hey, play drum, me kid.
Yeah, and we can slowly see him getting more and more assholey through the movie, which is it's really troubling. As you don't want to see the protagonist like go through a journey like that where they just stoop down
like
to that
Breaking
level.
Bad,
like after
journey.
20 minutes, but it did. I think the payoff at the end was not the ending I was expecting. It's one of those where you can debate whether or not it's a positive ending or a really negative ending. You kind of empathize with Paul Reiser looking through the crack in the door there with horror as his child is
destroyed
leaning,
son.
Full force into just being abused, but for the glory that he sees in his head. That's the only thing I'd add to the plot, is that it's this weird journey for the kid. And you, as a bystander, are just like, can just arrest the guy. Like, this is fucking insane. This is nuts. So.
I feel like, also, I agree with you, because I'm like, you don't really get the idea that he wants to be the greatest drummer until this guy tells him that he has to be the greatest drummer, kind of, you know? Like, in the beginning of the movie, you get the idea that he likes drumming, and he wants to be good at it, and he has joined this school to find a place where he can get better at drumming. You don't get the idea that he wants to be the most famous jazz drummer of all time or whatever, you know, a drummer, you know, Rembrandt for the modern age. But
Fletcher asks him, like, are there other musicians in your family? And he's like,
I know, there's no other musician. I mean, his mom could be. He doesn't even know because she disappears. But, you know, and the instructor just asks him about that stuff so he can use it as ammo later. Which I don't know why he even bothered. He could just use like 100 gay slurs against him like they do for everybody else.
He wanted to use finesse with the new guy.
Some of which don't make any sense. He's like, it's not your boyfriend's dick. Don't come early. And you're like,
but if I think about that for a minute, I'm not sure how that works.
Blowing into the instrument, which would be the dick, but then like... But he would come early? I don't understand why, but I digress.
At any rate, some of his insults are like, he's from another country, and English is his second language. And they're close to being on point, but just a smidge. Swing and a miss. Brian, you're a jazz head.
Are you? Oh, that's right, you kind of are.
How did this movie strike you? Like,
I really enjoyed it.
Did you want to pick up the drums?
No, I cannot drum for the life of me. I've tried many times.
I would love to.
But as you guys were saying that, I was thinking I mean, he doesn't just like flip this switch of like, I want to be this greatest drummer. I mean, they kind of allude to it. I mean, one thought would be, why would he bother going to essentially like a Juilliard for music if he did not want to be a very great, if not professional musician, right? And
Sure.
so, and they kind of allude to it by him like playing the Buddy Rich albums and stuff like that, where he's trying to be at that caliber. Who Buddy Rich is, I mean, essentially, I guess to be known as the greatest jazz drummer of all time, right? And it's super like high level, hard shit like Caravan and whatever that he's playing. But you know, I feel like he's driven. It's interesting, right? Because like everyone who's in the lesser jazz ensemble, I don't know if he's like a first year, but everyone
Yeah.
knows about this teacher, right? Like this his shadow behind the door. Everyone's like, oh shit, he's here. Like
Yeah.
he knows he picks players out of it to join his ensemble, and that's the band you want to be in, right? So it's like, does everybody go there knowing that that's the guy you want? That's the band you want to be in. It sounds to me like that's the case. So, and if you're good enough, you can get to be. If you're one of the best, you get to be in his band. Of course, you get to fucking destroyed verbally.
Yeah, I feel like that's he's one of those people that like thrives in academia because you know you become a legend in academia, and people will go through your school, and the longest you can be at the school is 4 years. So you know, like no one has to work with this guy for 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, so you can get brainwashed by an abusive person, and then go out into the world. And you know, like if you buy a $500 ticket to a show, people are going to ask you how the show was. You're going to say it's awesome. You know, no one is like, oh, I spent $500 on a ticket to a show and it was a piece of shit. So like if you go through that experience with this guy as your teacher and you spend all this time of your young life and all this money, you're probably going to graduate from that school and they're going to be like, how was it? And you'd be like, he's tough, but he's amazing as a teacher. You just really grow, you know, and you can see.
Would you like extra cream with that?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Would you like a double shot of espresso in that? Yeah. So you can see how people would go there, get brainwashed, not realize they're being horribly abused after a very short amount of time, normalize the abuse, get out of there, and then talk this guy up as some kind of legend because he's such a fucking asshole. But some of the musicians he produces are great musicians who go on to careers in Carnegie Hall and stuff, although he admits in this movie, and I think he's being honest in this scene, even though he's telling a bunch of lies, that he hasn't produced a talent like Charlie Parker,
not a single
like
one,
Buddy Rich, like anyone who's famous, not a single one. So, you know, I think
and that's the underlying question of the whole movie, I think, is that, is it worth it? Is to put like to force a human through this brutal intensity to try and produce the Kwisatz Haderach of death.
And this is like, sorry, go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I was thinking of that's what you said. The Kwisatz. I was like, it kind of reminds me of like what's it like the X-Men, where it's like you have to torture them to get the power to come out, like their mutant power to expose itself by like torturing the shit out of them. Or maybe is that just Deadpool that's like that? But I mean, it's like, or isn't that a plot
it's in the movies?
Like,
I don't know if
X-Men
or
it's
not, but
you basically like push them to the point of like where it exposes itself. But
yeah, I mean, the Hulk is a good example because like he has to get full of rage to have the power come out.
But what's interesting is that how people, I guess, kind of fascinating would be how Andrew's character essentially snaps, but he's not everybody's like driven to madness like he is. He rides everybody, but like what's different about him that he decides that I'm going to go and dump my girlfriend's, get rid of all my shit, only have a drum set in my room and just sit here and practice until my arms bleed. Like that's a different personality, I would say. Like what's the drive there as opposed to the kid that he kicks out of the band that doesn't know whether or not he's in tune, you know, which is really, he's just scared out of his fucking mind. So
I feel like, I feel like, I feel like partway into this movie, I was like, oh, this kid was always an asshole. You know, it's like, oh, he becomes an asshole. Partway into the movie, I was like, oh, no. This kid was always an asshole. He's an asshole, but he doesn't think he's an asshole because he hasn't been exposed to enough people and scenarios to have it brought out of him. But he's really not a good person.
Yeah, just the way he like talks to his family at the dinner
Yeah,
table, you're like,
at this point in his life, yeah, he talks to that girl like he treats her
Nicole,
like shit.
the
Even in the, when
talks
the
about her
date,
having direction with her major and not being
yeah,
happy.
even when the
Like,
date
it's
goes
very
well,
condescending.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's condescending when the date goes well, and horrible when the date ends. You know, when he goes on this, we see our second date with her, and he's dumping her. That's when I was like, oh, he's always been a horrible person. Like, this isn't new him. This is just exposed him, because nobody could fucking do that to someone that they cared about ever without being a horrible person in the first place. The way he does it, how much of an asshole he is, how much of a cold fucking asshole he is, you're like, oh, this is him. And I think my other point that I got out of this is that the instructor is a mega asshole to him because he senses greatness in him, and he doesn't sense it in most of the rest of the kids that he lets off the hook. Like the private pile guy, I just think he doesn't like him. I think he's overweight. I just don't personally like him. I think he's a piece of shit. I want a reason to get rid of him. The kid who really was out of tune when he blames the private pile kid for being out of tune, I don't think he cares about this kid. I don't think he senses greatness in him. I think he senses goodness in him. And I think
Good enoughness. Yeah.
good enoughness.
Well, yeah,
to
he
serve
does
as the
say he's like,
backdrop
I've been
for
carrying
the
you.
real goal.
Yeah, and he's like, you were the one who was out of tune, but you know, you're staying, and this kid didn't even know if he's out of tune or not, so fuck him. But I think he's the hardest on the people that he senses the most greatness in, including that student who killed himself, and that the guy announces to the class that he died in a quote car crash, and the instructor kind of cries over it. I think he was probably another one where he was like, I sense Charlie Parker level greatness in you, and he wrote him too fucking hard, you know.
Which is really just, I mean, to use the other two drummers, like, was it Tanner and the other guy, the jock guy?
Yep.
Like, just abusing them.
Yeah.
Not even because they ever had a chance, because they never did.
No, they never had a chance.
It was really just to force Andrew into that position where he could finally, like, thrive.
Make him mad.
Like, that is like Omega level demented, psychotic, narcissistic bullshit.
And at the drop of a hat too, the Miles Teller kid, the squeaker, is a total asshole to the other kids. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, like,
at every turn, right? At every turn, when he has a chance to choose how he's going to treat people, he chooses being a dick.
Yeah, I think he believes that he has such an inflated ego that he's just shitty to everybody, even though he hasn't proved himself to anybody. But the fact that he's, you know, in this band or whatever, to him signifies that he's on some sort of path to greatness, or that he needs to, you know, do something. But I one thing
only
I think
God
about
can
too
judge
is,
me.
Yeah,
you could for effect, the movie is great, right? And it's enjoyable, and yeah, he's terrible, but it's kind of the same thing of like why the drill instructor is such a memorable moment in Full Metal Jacket, right? Like it's torturous and terrible, but it makes for good drama. But could you produce the same output by pushing somebody like nice, kindly? Like there's a firm hand, you know, some people benefit from like the stick or the carrot, like, but I mean, he just literally takes a baseball bat to these fucking kids. Like, instead of being like, hey, like encourage, then critique, and then encourage,
I think that's the flaw, though, in the whole plot. And with I think Full Metal Jacket is a very good metaphor there, because that's the tactic they use in boot camp, but they're not producing great artists of war.
No,
they're not creating a warrior class that will just dominate it. They're creating just cogs to do a one thing kind of job, and that tactic is very good for that one thing.
They have to be
this
good
movie's
enough.
trying to like apply this to, well, what if it worked with other professions?
Yeah,
such as jazz drummer or electrician or like it doesn't apply. It doesn't work. Like, all you're going to do is have a string of dead bodies and a lot of lawsuits on your hands. Yeah, and that's it. So
and I feel like college again is a breeding ground for situations like this, like college football and basketball are perfect examples of this too, because you know, these coaches, especially when these kids didn't get paid and they couldn't use the transfer portal to change schools and stuff like that, they didn't have any leverage. Like, they'd go to a big, you know, program like Michigan, and the coach could just do whatever the fuck he wanted these kids. The coach could beat them. He could subject them to all kinds of like freezing and run around and strap plastic bags over you and run around and try to drop weight like wrestling and stuff. And they did. They treated kids like fraternities hazing people, and the kids had to eat it because you're this iconic coach and you're a little person in this giant system. And that's why these coaches don't go on to the major, to the NFL and succeed, because they go to the NFL and they try to scream at and berate and belittle these millionaire players who have shoe contracts, and everybody knows their name, and they're like,
fuck you.
Hey, fuck you. This isn't UNC. We don't give a shit about your scare tactics. I'm a millionaire with a fucking mansion, and I'm good at my job. I know I'm good at my job. I got a fucking Super Bowl ring or whatever, fuck you, little man. And that's why it doesn't translate.
It's sort of in a weird way, a bit of it's gatekeeping in the sense of it, like you're saying, at a college level. Like if you're a professional, there's no barrier, right? But it's like, if you're like in a college setting, there's something that you want. This person is gatekeeping you to having it. So you'll do whatever it takes to sort of join that football team, whatever is join Alabama or join, this prestigious musical band, whatever, so that you can go on and do whatever you think that you need that to go do that. So it's kind of, they'll do whatever. And that to your point, allows people like Fletcher to sort of hide within the system, right? Because it's sort of like this weird mystique that they just kind of, especially like in this type of world too, like, and I think you even have more leeway in like artistic endeavors in the sense where it's like, oh, it's part of this process, and it's part of the
tortured genius.
You have to be tortured, to do some of this stuff. So, but I think it is interesting because why would you? I mean, what kind of person? I mean, I try to think of the kid he calls Pyle, or he calls him Elmer Fudd, whatever. Elmer Fudd, but it's like, why would you tolerate that behavior for that? I mean, I guess it's like, if that's something you want to do, and that's your, like, you see that as your path to being a professional musician, like how else can you
I mean, think about the Harvey Weinstein trials. All these people just keep saying, like, why did you get into a relationship with this guy that you didn't want to be in a relationship? Why did you go into a hotel room with this guy by yourself?
Want something so bad.
Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And they're like, because I thought I would get ahead in the industry, and then at a certain point, I realized I would be destroyed in the industry. You know what I mean? Like, they were talking to one woman who was like, in the first day that I met this guy and that he took an interest in me, I realized he already knew who I was, and I would be destroyed in the industry if I didn't go up to his room or do whatever he was asking me to do. So it wasn't even like, it's beyond like, oh, I'll get ahead. It's like, I came here to do this thing that I've wanted to do my whole life, and you could destroy my ability to ever do this again, which is a much more terrifying thing. And so that's how abusers get ahead. That's how abusers stay in power, and that's how abusers silence other people, because everyone's afraid of them.
Do we believe that the Fletcher character, though, is like he buys his own bullshit? Do you think he really and truly believes like he's trying to craft the next Charlie Parker? Parker?
Yes.
Parker. Yeah.
Parker.
Sure. Did you say Barker? Like maybe. Bob Barker?
Yeah.
The next Bob Barker.
The next Bob Barker.
The next Price is Right host.
Do you think that he really believes that that's what he's doing? Or do you think he really is just sick? And whereas like Harvey Weinstein was doing it for sexual purposes, he's doing it for like, it's the power. It's the actual abuse that is what his drug that he's going after.
I think there is, to Greg's point, I think there's both. I think part of him believes that there is the next Charlie Parker, and that he can pull that off by using that methodology in a weird way. Like he throws out the thing about, having a symbol thrown at his head, blah, blah, blah. Like he thinks that's the path, right? Like if you abuse,
that's instructive. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this created this great person by doing this to somebody. And, basically great people telling others that they're not good enough, or you need to do better, or you need to work harder creates the next level. Like, oh, do you think, what does he say? He's like, do you think he did X, Y, or Z? No, he went home and practiced.
Yeah.
Right. Like the right person will take the abuse a way in which it will drive them and not break them down.
Yeah.
But I think that, I don't know if that's really true. It's maybe 1 out of a million that works, but then the other 999,000 they just get destroyed. So it's like, but he thinks it's worth it. He feels like that is worth it to find one.
Yeah. Like, oh, you have talent? Let me just see if I can squash that right the fuck out of you. And if I don't squash it right the fuck out of you, maybe you'll be great. But here's where I have a problem with the movie. Was when the kid goes bananas and tackles J.K. Simmons and beats on him and gets kicked out of school. From that point on, I feel like the filmmaker kind of had a what now moment where the filmmaker was like, oh shit, what do we do now? I mean, all the way up to there, very solid through line, very believable, rising and falling of character development. And then they had that weird scene where they're like, would you testify against him in this weird closed court so that he never becomes a teacher again? And he's like, just tell me what to say. And you're like, oh, it's going to go to a court scene or something. And then it doesn't. And you're like, okay. He sees him playing in a jazz club and the old teacher invites him for a drink. And I don't believe this guy would go through all this bullshit of like tricking the kid into joining a jazz ensemble and getting into a Carnegie Hall type scenario just to humiliate him. Because what is this guy's point the entire movie? You will not embarrass me in front of a crowd in this ensemble. Your mistakes make me look bad, right? Yeah. And so then his revenge,
excuses, yeah.
Right, but then his revenge is to get this kid in front of a giant crowd of people who are some of the most important people in the industry, and not give him the right music and have him look like a fucking screw up.
It just makes him look bad.
It doesn't make sense to me with this character's way of thinking and way of living up to this point.
Yeah.
And like having the kid come out and work through it and play the amazing solo that ends the movie. It also kind of, for me, it muddies the impact of what the movie was up to that point, because then it is kind of saying like, yeah, be a fucking psycho to all your students and let God sort them out. And you're God, So like,
it's dark.
It's really pretty dark. And it's like, yeah, it's true. Chuck a symbol at his head and make him Charlie Parker. That's the only way to do it.
But yeah, a lot of it is unbelievable, but it makes for drama, and it's.
I wonder what happens after the movie's over. Like that direction. I don't think you're supposed to like, I feel like the director wanted us to think, okay, now they are fully like consenting that he's going to be the teacher and he's going to be the student, and there's greatness in it, and like the smile between them, that he's earned the respect, he's earned approval from the teacher, and that they're going to move forward together. But I don't see how that's possible, because I felt like Andrew coming out there on stage, it started as a like wanting to be accepted, but then he didn't know how to play it, and there's the humiliation. But when he comes back out on stage, it's a fuck you, and that fuck you is like solidified. And him making it through that entire performance is not about Fletcher at all. Fletcher could be egging him on or pissed off. It doesn't matter. After it's supposed to be over, like, I feel like the trade papers are going to come out and start into like, oh, this new amazing drummer that's come out. Like, how did you make your start? There's no fucking reason for Andrew to do anything other than say the truth about Fletcher, who just tried to humiliate him in front of everybody.
Yeah, like, but I think what my problem is though, like, Andrew wasn't even playing drums. He gave all his shit away, and then he had a
wasn't
drink.
Practicing at all.
Right, he was like gave his drums away. He put everything away. He like wasn't going to do music at all, and he was like working in a fucking deli or something. I forget where he was, but and he has the drink with the professor and tells him all this shit at the table. So he's like, "Ah, you doing music anymore?" "No, I'm not doing music anymore." Well, I got this thing going on. Like, it's not like he wants to ruin his career. Like, he doesn't have a career. He's not even playing drums anymore.
Yeah, he essentially already ruined him
Yeah, it
by
makes it
like
even
just
more
breaking his
ludicrous.
But
spirits.
now he's got an opportunity to not only like know he's ruined, but give him a taste of like, oh, I'm gonna for a split second, you're thinking you're back in, but now I'm gonna like totally
Turn the
rip it
I
away
knife.
from you.
guess. Like, what are you
Yeah,
gonna do? A
absolutely.
revenge
Because
tour? Go to Private
he's a
Pyle's
sadist.
house and drag him on
He is
stage? Like,
absolutely a sadist. This is completely in character for what he would do, I would argue.
But that's an interesting take though. I never thought of that. Like they were going to come like hold hands and run off into the sunset. I thought it was just like he finally felt that he was good enough, and then he was. I took it as he would go on to be a professional drummer somewhere. You know, like he doesn't need Fletcher anymore. Like you know, he was able to pull it off, and
yeah.
he like rose above him and be like, "Oh, I don't need you. Like I'm clearly better than you at this, and people are going to remember this performance, and I'm going to go off and join a band or do whatever I'm going to do." But I mean, that's how I took it. But
It shows that he's a leader too. Like he comes out, he
Yeah.
comes back out, and they're like, "Get the fuck!" And he's like, and he, to the other musicians, not cutting him out. He's like, "I don't even need you. I don't need the middleman anymore." He's like, "Follow my lead.
I'll
Follow my lead.
cue you in.
I'll cue you in.
Yeah, I'll cue you in. I'll cue you
in."
in.
He does it again. They go back through. They cycle through that one thing, and he just starts playing. And they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "I'll cue you in. I'll cue you in." So like he's now like sort of the unquestioned leader at this point. Like you don't even need a fucking conductor. You know, it really almost points out the uselessness of the
Waving your
conductor's
hand.
position in the first place. Yeah, yeah,
This is
wave your
more
fucking
than-
hand. You know what? I mean,
5,
like
6, 7, 8.
right. You know, and if you're gonna improvise, which is the foundation of jazz, if you're going to improvise, you know, do you need a conductor at all? You need a conductor for a symphony. You need a conductor if you're going to do a note by note recreation of a Buddy Rich tune. But when you leap off, because as it seems he's not playing off sheet music in the last scene, right? He's just fucking riffing. He's doing a giant like improvised solo, a crazy improvised solo. At that point, you don't need a conductor, you know, like you're cutting out the middleman. So it's a musical FU to the guy. Yeah, I don't know where the movie would go from there.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting. That actually I like, because a lot of movies are like, oh, we're about raising questions and not giving you answers. And you're like, no, you aren't. You know, there's clearly a political message stamped on this thing that you're supposed to be like, oh, that's what it means. And this one, at the end of it, I was like, I really don't know what they're saying. Like, I don't know where these guys would
No,
go.
it's good. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know what they would do. I have no idea what would happen after this movie ends if you made a sequel to it, which please don't. But if you did,
It's called La La Land.
No idea what would fucking happen. Yeah, which I think is exciting. But I think they muddied the way up to that point. Which
I think I feel like it'd be the situation where, because right now he's just like he's conducting some sort of like put together band. Like it's not. I think he's lost all his sort of prestige that he's had by being at that school, and now he's like basically a lounge act.
Yeah.
So it's like, but then Andrew, obviously he puts him in front of all these people who can make a difference, and he basically blows them away. And he's like, so I think it's kind of his star rises, and maybe J.K. Simmons is like, hey, look, I finally did the thing I wanted to do, which I created this person, and he gets to go, you know.
He gets to get credit for it. Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever.
Except he wouldn't get credit for it, because Andrew would be like, fuck you. No, you don't get credit for anything. I did this despite you. So
yeah, because to Greg's point earlier, it's like as soon as you reach the level of notoriety or whatever, you can just be like, oh yeah, you can be honest. It's like you said about the football player with 5 rings. It's like,
nothing
oh
over
yeah,
anymore.
fuck you. It's all me. Like, you know, it's like I'm the one wearing the rings. Like he didn't do anything.
Right.
Like he just yelled at me. Like
I feel like there is a moment like it starts out where he gives him he doesn't give him the music for the first piece, and he makes the kid look a fool, and the kid leaves, and then he comes back and does his thing where he's like, you know, I'm leading now, I'm leading on this one, and the guy is like livid with him, right? Like the conductor, J.K. Simmons is like
hit him in the face with a cymbal. I love that. That was
sucker, whatever he says to him, you know,
he's I'll fucking end you or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. And he's like just still full of rage about this kid. But at the same time, you're like, you still kind of get the feeling this is a test, that he was trying
to tell.
He's trying to fuck this kid if it works. And if it doesn't, it's like, okay, it was a test to see if you can get through this and play the next two pieces. If you run back to your daddy, or if you come back and stay here and play the next two pieces that I did give you the music for, you know, it's kind of a test. But like, I feel like J.K. Simmons' character gets revenge in the first song. Miles Teller's character gets revenge in the second song. And by the third one, they're playing in concert with each other. You know, like in the third one, they're simpatico. They're vibing on the same level. You see his hands doing the drums up close. You see J.K. Simmons' hands conducting up close. And you're like, these two sociopaths have finally, you know, successfully started orbiting each other. And, you know, who knows where it'll go from here. But it seemed like a success moment in a very negative movie.
Yeah.
You know, like
where it should have been the culmination of a tragedy.
Right. And it's like, oh, this is like, you know, two sociopaths finally figuring out how to work together and achieve greatness together, you know.
Great. You're now both Sith Lords. Congratulations.
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. Like, oh, Darth Maul just figured out how to use the double-sided lightsaber.
Great.
Perfect. Just fucking, my teaching has paid off. This is great. Totally, man. Well, we should probably rate this thing, right?
What's the rating scale there, Brian?
Yeah. Well, if you
well,
like
clearly
jazz
we can use notes. We can use an F all the way to an A if we want to.
Ooh, a bit of a
F minor to an A major will be our
right. What about the Colgate Comedy Hour? Who was the star
Roy
of the
Donk.
Roy Donk. Roy
Right.
Donk to Charlie Parker, or Roy Donk to Roy Donk to Buddy Rich.
What's interesting? What's kind of interesting about the jazz scale is a lot of these, like Buddy Rich, for example, like he would, you know, lead big band type stuff, which is like a lot of big standards and stuff that are known. But then when you think of jazz, you think of improvisation. Like if you think like John Coltrane or whatever, writing their own stuff and doing whatever. I'm sure they know those standards too, but it is like the ability to sort of, or, you know, Miles Davis to write your own music and to improvise on top of one riff or whatever. It's kind of interesting what makes somebody great on a different instrument at a different level, you know? So it's like mimicry at one point is amazing, but also, I mean, same thing for classical pianists, like, or whatever, cellists, you listen to go play Bach, like, you know, I don't know if anyone's writing any new music for cello. I mean, I'm sure they are, but
yeah.
Maybe Andre 2000, but I mean,
all they do is play the famous stuff from like the 17.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of, you know, so it's like when you say, oh, a good drummer versus a bad drummer, it's, I think a lot of it is interpretive, right? Like what's a good rock drummer versus what's a good jazz drummer, or, so yeah, I'm sticking with I feel like the note scale is awesome. I don't know if you guys are
all right. Okay. I feel like it's a value judgment on the F note.
Well, Joshua didn't even know you could tune a fucking drum. So
there you go.
I'm just kidding, man. I don't care.
One thing we can edit this out, but I thought it was really interesting for some reason. Like, I don't know what, like when they all go like 5 seconds before Fletcher walks in and they're all tuning and they're all like playing the same note and he yells out, "Milk the cunt."
Yeah. I was like, I'm not looking it up. I'm not looking
it up either. I know it's a work computer. I'm working on a work computer.
But I was like, is that what he said? I was like, is that what he said? Like,
it's in the short film too. It's in both.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I was like, is that? And I would be like, is that a real thing that people say? And two,
we'll
like,
never know.
How does that, like, does that mean, hey, let's all come together on the same note? And I was like, what? It's kind of weird. I wanted to look it up, but again, I'm on a work computer. So
it's an old jazz expression. Brian, you never heard of milk cunt? Yeah. Come on, everybody, come on here, milk cunt. Well, having a highball and milk and cunts in here. Hey there, buddy.
We're all milking. Come on in.
We're having a jazzy old time here.
We're milking in G sharp. All right. Well, I'm gonna look it up at some point because it seems like the way they did it like twice made it seem like that's a thing that people say, and I was like,
I'm not on a work
insidery.
Whoa.
But you're at home. Are you at home? Can you look it up?
I feel like it's a very insider.
I'm gonna Google it, but I'm gonna have to use some very specific. So Whiplash film, and then in quotes, milk. To see you next Thursday.
And then, what does it mean? I'm asking for a podcast that
Okay.
I'm
I'm asking
doing.
for a podcast
Top
friend.
one on
Enter.
Reddit. From IMDb, what's the meaning? He was telling everyone to play middle C for tuning purposes.
I feel like that's unnecessarily profane for such a thing.
Yeah, I think
You
there's
know?
like literally an infinity of other ways you could say that.
Anyways, I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like,
Vitamin
is that a
C.
thing people say? Like,
That's
but
at least vitamin C is a benefit. Yeah.
I'm gonna start saying it. Like, everybody milk it. We gotta milk it.
So I mean, like the
Come on,
Scottish
guys, we're
people love
milking.
to use the C
Try it
word.
at work. See,
Yeah.
see how,
Come on, everybody. Meeting started.
So-
Everyone's milking the sea.
Hey, everybody! Why am I fired?
Don't you like jazz? Come on.
Jazzy old time there, swinging old time there, buddy.
No jazz standard. I'm over here milking the Z, milking the Zoom. So I
Let's
would
rate this thing.
let's rate this sucker.
Let's rate it. Dear God.
Let's milk the cunt.
Before I get fired.
Yeah, because actually I'm looking at the script. So it's Milk of the Sea.
Wheeze the juice.
The pianist plays a middle C and the players start tuning to it.
If you do a Pauly Shore reference, this evening is over.
I just did. All right, see you guys.
I know. That's our show, folks. Killed
we've
Pauly
got a
Shore
squeaker
reference.
today, people.
I'll go first.
All right.
I give this. It's an A-. It is. I mean, it's a very good film. I think on most levels that one would judge these sorts of things. You know, casting, the script's good, the characters are very compelling. Very, relationships that you don't typically see, and so there's automatically just interest right there. I think I stand by stating that I found no joy in watching this at all. this was work. I'm glad I watched it because it honestly it gets you thinking, which I appreciate. I like thinking on occasion, but specifically about the central question of, is it necessary to put the people through a crucible in order to get a higher level of mastery for a specific, sort of learning experience? And like, do you need to apply that to every single field in order to get the best of the best? Like, they have to suffer for it. I think there is some truth to it, but there's a lot of other addendums that need to be added to that in order to refine it. And I think it's not a scientific analysis by any means to that you have to torture people to get them to do what you want or to get them to produce something amazing. I think there's plenty of examples through history where that's not the case. Like, people can live very, very comfortable lives and still produce
Totally.
really great stuff.
You don't need to be dicks to each other. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't think this elitist standpoint of, well, you're only saying that because you're a normie. And only other artists would understand. Only other masters would understand where we're coming from. So only God can judge me, because you're all you little plebes down there. You're the ones who are left in the wake of failed experiments to produce something of artistic importance. So I think that it, at its core, it does have a very, very interesting philosophical problem. So A-. Never watch it again.
Never watch it again.
Never watch it again.
Nope. No thanks.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of movies that we've watched I'll probably never watch again, and I sure wouldn't give an A- to. So, I think that's still,
It was
pretty
like
good.
a solid B- until the last 5 minutes. Maybe 10 minutes. It was a very long drum solo. But that last
Joshua's gradometer just kept, every time he would hit the drums up 45,000 times a second, Joshua's gradometer was
I mean, I tell you, the drum solo itself was not doing it any favors. It was the drama behind the drum solo. So
your grade is like Fletcher going up,
Yeah,
up,
it's
up,
just
up, up. He's like,
it was the
B+,
lines
B+.
they weren't saying. It was the
Yeah.
lines they weren't saying. Yeah.
I grew up watching Eddie like Van Halen videos, and for some reason Alex Van Halen always got a drum solo at
Yeah.
every single concert. Doesn't make any sense, But if there was beef
The rest of
between
the band's had to take a
Eddie
piss.
and Alec, yeah, and there was like fighting, like, there's the attention, like, let's see how this drum solo turns out. If it resolves the problem. Okay, I yield my time.
Yeah, I think I'll go second because Brian will probably wrap it up as the person who chose it. I would give this a B plus. I think J.K. Simmons' performance is an A plus. Beyond just being a showy performance, being a show-offy, type of character, there is a real, honest, brutal intensity in this man's eyes, the way he carries his body, his mannerisms. There's a beautiful delicacy to his hand movements and the way his arms move, the way he cocks his head and stuff. You really feel like the music is flowing through him, out of him, and he's trying to will it into these students. So I feel like he's someone who's better at knowing what he wants than getting it himself, and that's where a lot of the tension is in his character. So he's a fucking A plus. I'm like, God damn it, he's so goddamn good in this, man. Miles Teller is good. I feel like there are times where he slips around a little bit in the performance, and I'm it is a good performance, but I'm not like, man, that's such a great performance. But it's less showy, and he does have a couple scenes like where he breaks up with the girl, his girlfriend, his brief girlfriend, where you're like,
due dates.
He's kind of terrifying in that scene. He's just really dead inside, and you're like, oh, all of this was there the whole time, and it's just coming out now, and he's just dead inside. He's kind of a sociopath. Fuck. Wow. Okay. So he did a good job, but I think they give him less show offy stuff to do. Other than that, there isn't much of a movie other than those two. It really is just a 2-person play with a bunch of scenery. You get people as couches, people as lamps, people as rugs. And I was like, there isn't one person of color who's like a front and center, like badass musician in this movie. Like, what the fuck, It is very white. They're all
In
the
a jazz film?
I
Highly
know,
unorthodox.
I know, right? It's like it's like having a basketball movie and there's all white guys and you're like, something's fucking wrong here. But like, they marginalize all of it. There are people of color in the cast. They marginalize all of them though. They're just like random
They're
horn player
supporting.
number 7. So that bothered me a little bit too. And then I did deduct points for, like I said, there's that moment where he beats up the professor and we cut to kind of a different movie all of a sudden. And as a writer, I know this feeling where you're like, you have the idea for the play or the movie or whatever it is, and you get to a point where you're like, okay, but this isn't the ending, and I don't know what to fucking do now, but I have to do something. And it kind of felt like that, where the machinations start to become more visible. The idea that this guy is making a plot and having the plot have things happen that he needs for the end to happen became more visible to me at that moment where he fights the professor. So that was where it lost points for me. I did love the final scene though, for the reasons I said, where it starts out as the teacher's revenge, it moves into the kid's revenge, and then it turns into this brutal symbiotic relationship between two high functioning sociopathic narcissists, which is a lot in the arts. I got to tell you, there's a lot of that in the arts, man. High functioning sociopathic narcissists draw people to them and usually keep them in their orbit. And having been someone who did theater for 20 years, I will say I was one of the people who would have been in the second chorus, not even J.K. Simmons' chorus. I just liked performing. I liked writing. I liked performing. Those were my people. I liked being around actors and other performers. I never had the killer instinct to drill down and work this hard at it to get really fucking good at it and be successful, or at least try to be successful. So I do really appreciate watching stories about people who have that in them and just see someone doing something exceptionally well, which this certainly gave me in spades. So I'll give it a B plus. Elements of it are an A for sure, and elements of it are kind of B minus. So I'll give it B plus. Mr. Brian.
So that's a B sharp. Not.
Yeah, B sharp. I don't know music that well, so
Yeah. What's my A flat?
A minus? Is
it's
that
not
what
my
you said?
tempo.
Yeah,
It's
is
not
it?
my tempo.
A minor,
It's
maybe
not
A
my
minor.
tempo.
A minor or A flat, however you choose to interpret that. But I mean, I think all day I would have said this was an A, and then after our discussions, maybe I changed it to an A minus. But yeah, I think it's a really great film, whether musical or not. I mean, I enjoy the soundtrack. I think the jazz stuff is really cool. It just the scenes are interesting to me. Just the band playing and just the conduction is really good. So yeah, I'd give it I would have given it an A, but I'll give it an A minus.
You can give it an A.
Well, I'm
You
trying
don't
to think. I mean, it does have some holes. I think when you like a movie,
You're dragging. You're dragging.
Yeah.
slap.
Am I rushing or am I
Are
dragging?
you rushing or are you dragging?
No, but I think one good thing about doing these type of discussions is that sometimes you don't really see when you like something, you're willing to look past a lot of the warts once in a while, and you're like, yeah, that's true. Like that's kind of a weird thing, you know. I think the analogy of like Full Metal Jacket is really good, or like I didn't really think of it like that, but it's like you know, you sort of just go on this ride with them and you're like, this is acceptable. I mean, clearly it's not, but okay, there's a reason. And the ending proves that maybe there is a reason. It leaves it kind of ambiguous, but yeah, I think it has great watchability. I think everyone's good in it. I think this was kind of, I wouldn't say it's like, I mean, I feel like an Academy Award sort of catapults anyone's career. You know, not like he wasn't a nobody by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like this kind of put him in a little bit of a different stratosphere in terms of acting.
Yeah, he was mostly known as a character actor.
Yeah, he's doing like State Farm commercial or like Farmers Insurance
yeah,
commercials.
Farmers Insurance. Yeah,
He's
this is
doing
him
this.
front and center. Yeah, he just wants the money.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, he's in Juno. I think he was probably in the Spider-Man movies before this, right? So
yeah, way long ago.
Yeah, but like, yeah, he's a character actor. And I think Miles Teller, he hadn't really done much anything except
he's a kid. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought I can't really. I don't know how I feel about Miles Teller. I've seen subsequent movies with him in it, and he's always kind of the same character in a weird way.
Yeah,
it's like when we watched like Top Maverick, I was like, okay.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I wouldn't, you know, he was fine. He was
more
good.
like a mild Teller.
And that's it for us, folks.
That's it. That's our time. The Colgate comedy
on a
hour.
rim
Wrapping
shot.
it up. Little Buddy Rich.
Yeah. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Roy Dog.
Yes, A minus from me. I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I'm glad I got to rewatch it and bring it up. It's cool that it's very rare we get a movie where two people haven't seen it. So well, maybe we'll catch one up. Maybe we'll catch La La Land one day. I don't know.
Well, that's the choice for the next one.
I'll probably see it. Oh, great. You ruined Joshua's pick.
That's not.
God damn it.
Isn't that another? It's about dancing, or I don't know.
Yep.
It's just a musical set
dancing.
in Hollywood, right? Isn't it mostly about being living in Los Angeles? Isn't it like a love note to LA or something?
Which is not our demographic at all.
No, not really. Yeah.
I don't know. We watched Barbie. What the fuck's the difference?
Yeah. Well, it was trenchant social commentary in that one. So, yeah.
So, who's up next and what are we watching?
Me.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
M the C.
This week, I'm going to choose the new Tim Robinson movie, Friendship, which is out in theaters now.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, so I choose Friendship. I'll always choose Friendship, guys. I'll
always choose Friendship.
That's sweet. Now we got to go to the goddamn movie theater, Brian.
I know.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, friend.
Oh, get COVID again.
Probably get COVID.
Super spreader.
Great. I'll go to the movies by myself.
I will go by myself because I don't know who's going to go see this with me.
Spotting balls to work, reading cartoons in Newsweek magazine, listening to Massive Attack.
Hey, Brian. Good job.